So 4 years ago, I founded a company called Blinkist with these three guys here. And since then, it has been an incredible ride. So it was an incredible journey from 4 guys in the living room to 7, 8 guys in a co-working space to 18 guys in our first office to more than 40 people today in our new office. And when Christopher reached out to me, asked me if I want to speak at TEDx, he shared the topic of passion drives everything with me. And I thought it's actually a very interesting topic. And I started reflecting what actually beyond passion was important for us when we get started. Because what happens is that if you look at startup stories, success stories, you often hear the stories at the end. So when everything came together, everything seems so obvious. But what they tell you in the beginning, what seemed to be important, like raising money, getting PR, growth hacking, and all this stuff, I believe that this is only the outcome of getting 3 things right. And these 3 things are passion, purpose, and people. So what do I mean by passion, purpose, people? So let me start with passion. The first thing is you really have to be driven and passionate about your idea. You have to be committed to drive change. And very important, don't do it for the money or don't do it for the fame, because what will happen actually is, oh, sorry, the slides are not really working. So, because what will happen is that most of your startups will fail. Actually, reports are saying 80% of startups failing. If you look at other reports, they even say 90% of startups are failing. So it depends on how you look at on the reports, but what actually happens is that most of the times you will not succeed. And don't waste your time with stuff that you're not excited about, what you're not passionate about. Important as well is that startup is kind of like a very interesting ride. So you either have the best day of your life or you have the worst day of your life. There's never some kind of like okay days. And I think passion is very important because it does 2 things by you. The first thing is that it helps you to move through the down times, through the hard times, because then you kind of like reconnect with the big picture, saying why I'm doing this and why what should I do to keep going. But as well, it helps you to refocus in the high times. So what happens often, and happened to me as well, is kind of like when everything is going great, you kind of like start losing your mind a bit, and you start losing kind of like the connection to your business and think about all the stuff you could do. But passion then again helps you to refocus, saying, okay, what is actually what I want to do, what I'm passionate about, and helps you to just focus on the things that are important. So if you say, well, I don't need passion to be motivated, I would say 2 things. The first thing is I don't believe you because I have never seen this working. But if you still say that's not important for you, there's a great quote from Richard Branson, which I had next to my MacBook for a year or so. And what he says is that you have to inspire your staff. You have to lead them and help them understand your vision of the future. So if you are not the most passionate person in your company, so how you want to inspire your team. So even if you don't say, I need passion to be motivated, think it from a very tactical perspective and be passionate about the stuff you're doing, because otherwise you can't inspire other people to follow your vision. Number 2, purpose. What's very important is that you should start a company to achieve a purpose, not start a company to find a purpose. So what I've seen often is that people just like say, hey, cool, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to do a startup because it sounds very cool, it sounds like a great lifestyle. Actually, that won't work. See a company or like an organization or whatever as a vehicle to achieve your purpose. And only start a company when you know what you want to achieve. There's another great quote from Mark Zuckerberg who actually said is that don't start a company before you actually have figured out what you want to do. When we started Blinkist, like 4 years ago, it was actually something that we were working on for more than 8 years. So 3 of my co-founders, we all knew us from university, and we even like during university we were always very avid readers, but we felt that we kind of lack and that we can't read all the cool stuff that's out there. So we started thinking about ways how we could like summarize content into format that fits your lifestyle. Although we didn't really start the company right away, we talked about the topic for years and years, and even after university, after we graduated, we came back together for a weekend, which was firstly supposed to be a fun weekend, but we kept talking and talking and talking about this idea. And then from kind of like doing tests via email, building a prototype, at some point we realized, okay, this is actually what we want to do. We have something we're super passionate about, and we have something where we really see what the purpose could be of the company, really help people or inspire people to keep learning every day. And this was the starting point where we said, okay, all right, we quit our jobs, we do it full time. And I think this was very important that we went through this process and only started when we were convinced that we have found the right purpose for us. So, how you think about purposes, or how do I think about purposes? It's kind of like a guiding star for you. Think about like starting a company or like any kind of organization as a journey, or like you could try to climb up a hill. And when you start, you don't know where you will go. You know that at the top of the hill there will be a beautiful view, but you don't know actually how to get there. So what you need is a guiding star, but you need to be flexible on the way up there. So how we think about the purpose is, like our purpose at Blinkist is we want to inspire people to keep learning every day, even in challenging times and busy times with busy schedules. That is motivating us every day. How we achieve that, that's open. Like we can do, today it can be an app, tomorrow it can be something else. But what we know is that in everything we do, we want to inspire people to keep learning. So, third one, purpose, people. Very important. Simply put, you can't do it without great people. That's probably the biggest lesson I've learned, that the people around you are the most important factor of building a great company. There's another quote which struck me particularly interesting. It's from Steve Jobs, and he says, great products and companies are built by a team of people, not by one person. And I think this is so interesting because Steve Jobs is always seen as this kind of like inventor, genius guy who it looks like that he invented everything by himself, but actually he was always surrounded by a team of great people that helped him to achieve his vision of the future. So when you look at this picture here, this is kind of like very early, very beginning of Blinkist. We were like 4 co-founders plus 2 more people. That was really like an interesting time because looking back, what worked really well for us is that we had a very interesting, very diverse founding team. So we had very different backgrounds, very different views, and very different skills. So what I mean by that is, on the one hand, we had like different backgrounds from university, from our studies, and it means we had different views about topics, which helped us to kind of like very productive discussions, and not just like looking in one direction, but kind of combine a lot of different views, and that led to kind of like this innovation of Blinkist. And we had very different skills, so we had product skills, we had marketing skills, we had technical skills, we had content skills, which helped us kind of like to build a product. So what was really cool is in the beginning, we didn't need to hire people. We could just like do everything by our own. So this is kind of like the team of the first 6 to 8 months. It was like 4 co-founders, 1 freelancer who worked with us like 2 days a week, and 1 intern who helped us with kind of like outreach for PR and marketing. And this is kind of like one thing I would encourage you if you want to start like a company or an organization, is that you look for people who are different than you. I think it's very easy to just find people who are similar to you, just like feels right, but probably you should not do that, because in the end, everyone like you have the same skills, you have the same views, and you won't create something cool out of that. And what's very important as well is look for people who are better than you. I know it can be very uncomfortable working with people who are better, and you realize, okay, I'm probably like the weakest person here right now in this room, but it will actually help you to get better. Don't do the mistake of kind of like pushing your ego or something, like just feeling, oh, cool, yeah, I'm the smartest guy in this room, because this won't help you to succeed as well. So, in a nutshell, what I believe is that if you get these 3 things right, everyone can build a successful company or organization. So you have to burn for your idea. You need a purpose, but you need to be flexible on the path. And you need to surround yourself with great people in the right positions and with different skills than you have. But what's important, this is always important, you probably knew this was coming. The first step is always getting started. So I think it's very cool to listen to the stuff and be inspired, but you actually have to do stuff. You have to get started and try to change something or to build a product. And there's this, I really like this picture here, because it actually is very true. The magic is not happening in your comfort zone. So if you want to achieve something great, you have to stretch yourself. You have to get out of your comfort zone and really kind of like being uncomfortable for a moment, for a year, for 2 years, but you will actually learn and will grow with that. So if you think about this red carpet here as a comfort zone, then let's go out of it and build cool stuff. Thanks.